Hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing stunningly amazing. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing so great that you're the envy of everyone around you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm doing well, and I would love to be envy of everyone. I'm sure after this interview, people would be like, oh, she knows him. She's a lucky girl. so, pe-
Too kind.
so people, I want to introduce Ben Pandya, and he's also Bankim. And US has made him, has compelled him to change his name because they wouldn't pronounce his name right. Am I right?
Yes, yes. But
Yeah,
there's a story around that, so we'll get to that.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. For now, let me just introduce him to all of you. So he's a full-time professor at Arizona State University and master's in international management from Thunderbird Graduate School of International Management. He's certified leadership international management coach, building high performing teams. His forte is creating diverse business alliances in international markets and diverse industries. Well, his mantra is AIM, AIM, A for alignment, I for integrity, M for mindset, and all of this for success. I'm sure this has made him successful as well. We're going to listen to that story. He's an NLP instructor, global executive at AstraZeneca, taking up responsibility of leadership strategy, marketing, international business development. Guess what? He is a TEDx talk speaker and an author of Legacy Forward Made Easy. Mr. Ben Pandya's book was requested by none other than Mr. Narendra Modi, and I have seen pictures of Ben giving, with Narendra Modi in the same frame. So ain't that great? And yes, he is multilingual, Spanish, Urdu, English, plus 5 Asian languages. Now, people, don't you believe and don't you now know what kind of a person I have got here to just talk to you and inspire you? And I get inspired by him every time in Clubhouse. Um, and that is why I thought and I requested him to just be my guest for a few minutes and do the honors. Thank you so much for coming, Ben, and accepting my invitation.
Thank you. Great to be here and absolutely stunning to be able to meet with you and to be able to share, learn along the way, not only from you, not only from your students and our clients, but from everyone, everywhere. Thank you, gurus.
Thank you so much. You're so good with words. So good with words. And you do know I'm an English confidence building coach. So a lot of people do know English and they're not, even if they know English, they're not very confident putting it forth because they're not as articulate as you are. And people around you are always happy. You are a magnet. I know. I've seen people gathering and crowding into rooms where you are. They just follow you, and there has to be a reason. And the reason is that you communicate well, you make them feel happy. People forget words, but they never forget the feeling. And this is what all of us need to learn. And when we do that, people love us. You agree?
Absolutely. Yes. So true.
Yes, of course. So I would want you to just tell everybody where are you at present, and then we'll get on to your successful communication journey.
Great. I'm in a town, I call it sunny Scottsdale in Arizona. And the funniest thing about anyone that hears that I'm from Arizona, oh my God, it's so hot there. It's almost like saying to someone, I'm from India. Oh my God, India is so hot. Time out. What you're missing is there are other seasons as well as compared to just the 365 or 366 days of heat, for God's sake. There's a lot more in every place that we go to if we
Yeah.
just capitalize our time and the environment and what we learn from it. So I'm in
Mm.
sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. We love it here, and we've been here close to 25 years.
Oh.
But in between, I moved to London for 5 years as well. We'll
Mm-hmm.
come to that when
Mm-hmm.
you're ready to ask me the right questions.
Thank you. So he is in the US, and have you been in US all through? Where were you born and brought up? What's your story?
I was born in Bombay, a very proud Bombayite, a very proud Indian. And I was so fortunate to have actually been exposed. And when I say exposed, I studied in Gujarati medium high school. I studied in Hindi medium throughout my high school. And if you have seen people sweat, you should have seen me on the first day of my college when I sweated so much because I had just transferred from Hindi medium and Gujarati medium school to now all English medium learning and studies and all that. And every other student in my class and in the school had come from English medium. So they already had the upper hand. But I started to feel on the very first day for 15 minutes, I was so intimidated by just one thought. मैं इन लोगों से कैसे बात करूंगा? How will I
You
talk
know,
to these guys?
I can imagine. Yeah.
मेरे तो
Scary.
मेरे तो इंग्लिश का पता नहीं, ये लोग मजाक उड़ाएंगे, कुछ भी करेंगे. लेकिन 16th minute onwards, Sapna, 16th minute onwards, I had decided I'm not gonna let that hold me back, and the rest is history. So I was born in Bombay, brought up in Bombay, went to school, high school, college in Bombay, and loved every minute of it. Thank you.
So have you had, I would say, not so happy moments in Xavier's with respect to your language skills, or I would say not, no, I mean, lack of language skills?
No, like I said, my first 15 minutes on the first day was intimidating. It was not a led or spiraled down to have me be sad or unfortunate moments. It was just a passing thought in saying, how will I overcome this? And 16th minute, I decided, hey, it's just a hurdle. I will jump over it. It's just a puddle of water. I will leap over it. I will make friends starting the 16th or the 17th minute. Never did I stop. Never once.
So you spoke in English there, or you spoke in Hindi? And did they accept you as you were with your Hindi or Gujarati? Or you made yourself acceptable with the English, whatever English you knew?
So jokingly speaking, I spoke English to them. Hindi and English combination.
Yeah.
But I was at not that much of a disadvantage in the sense, ever since my childhood, I believe I was 9 or 10 years old, and my dad walked up to me one fine evening and he just said, hey, I want you to start practicing and speak in English. And so collectively, both of us decided that unless I speak with him in English, he was not going to respond to me. And my mom also supported that. My mom did not speak English. It didn't matter. but I would translate for her every single thing that I was talking to my dad. And so I had the practice. But practicing with dad was one chapter. Being thrown in the droves of 40, 50, 60, 100 students, especially girls, you're as it is intimidated by girls because,
Yeah.
and then it ended up being the 17th minute onwards. My God, I am still friends with them.
Mm.
And again, long story, we'll cross the bridge when we come to that. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. That means one has to have it in their mind to overcome this hurdle and not see it as a hurdle. See it as something which can be done. And that is why, Ben, I have invited you here to show these people who feel that, it is something which cannot be surmounted, or they really have to live with it, as with it as a disadvantage throughout their lives. Well, they don't have to, because you have just told them that it's just your mindset which needs to be aligned to move in the direction that you want to. And of course, I'm sure there are pitfalls. I'm sure it's not easy, but one needs to just be focused on what they want from life and how they would get it. So once that the path it's charted properly, you would just be able to go ahead and move forward with it. So Ben, you've been in US for long. So how long have you been in US? So after did you get your first job there, or you were working somewhere in India after Xavier's, I believe?
Yes, yes, of course. My first job was with Tata,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so interesting to have had me speak in English, where my entire team, of course, the language of business was English, but
Mm-hmm.
communication wise, they were more comfortable talking in Hindi or Gujarati. And
Mm-hmm.
I would insist, and my director came to me and said, stop talking to them in American English. I said, I can't help it. I didn't make it up. I'm not faking it. It's just that's the way I've been brought up. So, but I will insist that yes, I will speak with them in Hindi should it be that they won't understand. So yes, I had a team of 25 people reporting to me,
Mm-hmm.
and we won. We absolutely exceeded the goals. We were number one as far as the team and all that. So we did fantastic, English or not. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. And so you've been instrumental in their lives of the entire
Yes.
team also. Can we say that?
Oh, of course, of course. And
Yeah.
they're still in touch with me. Uh, they still feel that I just by even interacting with them, even wishing them congratulatory
Hmm.
uh, comments, they say that in those comments also you rejuvenate and motivate us to be able to continue to thrive in life.
So beautiful. So beautiful to hear this from people you've touched lives.
Yeah.
You're in the university, Arizona University. Do you have people coming from? I'm sure you do have people coming from all over the world, and it's not only India. From various parts of the globe, people are struggling with English. English being
Mhm.
a language which is widely spoken and accepted, everybody would want to really be, comfortable in that language or be impressive, impactful in the language. So, do you have students coming in your university, and do they struggle? Do you see people struggling there as well?
Uh, Not as much
Mm-hmm.
as in written English. Spoken
Oh.
ones, spoken English, yes, they struggle. More
Mm.
so because every university in the
Mm.
US requires that you take TOEFL.
TOEFL, yeah.
test of English as a foreign language. You
Yeah.
have to clear that. You have
Yeah.
to have the verbal scores and the written scores
And
just
the
to be
listening
able to get
scores,
admitted into
all
the
the scores you need. You
right.
need all the four
And
scores,
so,
yeah.
yeah. And so given that, there is at least the foundational and basic knowledge of English. And so therefore they're not struggling as much. And on top of that, I'm teaching master's level as well as 400 levels, so higher level scores. So they've already gone through first and second year of their college experience. And so they have learned a little bit more by being at the university, how to communicate in English. So I don't see that much struggle in my classes, more so, like I said, because of the post-graduation and the third and fourth year students coming to my classes.
That's great. So then that one problem is quite solved. You really don't have to fight with people struggling with the language of the medium of instructions. That's absolutely must be really, really comfortable for all of you.
But I will, with that, I will give you an example, if you don't mind, not at the university, but this is what I did for a small company called Microsoft. They asked me to train their leaders in China.
Okay.
And I was in China, even though English was the language of business, not one person spoke English. Not one person spoke English fluently, but I sensed that there was one leader who was actually so eager to speak and communicate in English. So this is a secret and you cannot use it. None of your students can use it. This is my style. This is my copyright, but I'm sharing that in the spirit of openness. What I did was every concept I launched and I shared with them, what I would ask one of the guys, the guy that was more curious to speak, as to I would ask him on the side, did he understand everything about the concept? And then I will actually ask him to teach every student, every leader in that room in Chinese.
Okay.
You see what I did? Yep. And so I filled the gap. I filled the gap by doing that. And as a result of that, I got recognized as a trainer and speaker of the year. But more importantly, the feedback that I got was these lines. This was the first speaker and trainer who made sure that every participant understood every concept and topic that was shared in fullest detail and made sure that they were ready to implement the learnings outside the classroom. That was a huge compliment. And I still pride myself in that I took that innovative approach to be able to see that they can do it. But I had learned it from my days at Tata, because in the commercials that we were going to run, they were all designed in English, Sapna. But when I saw the commercial, I went to my director and I said, hey, our market segment is the housewife of a middle class family in the city. And I'm not judging anyone, but they're more comfortable reading and listening to the commercial in the local language.
Yes.
So why don't we translate these commercials in the local language so that one will have greater impact, two, they will have greater understanding, and therefore greater market share. I hope that helps.
Yeah, and I'm sure it had a greater impact in the language which they understood better. And those days, I think even in today's time, one has to know the language to adopt for whatever. You know, as you said, did you learn Chinese in China?
I speak a little bit. I don't speak fluently, but business communication, yes.
You
Chinese,
can?
Japanese, Thai.
Wow. 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 So many languages. You are so adept to actually communicate with so many people. And
Yes.
I'm so glad that I didn't know this. I just got to know this just now because
Well,
I knew
that's
only those four, the five Asian language and the ones which you mentioned, but I didn't know that you knew Chinese also and Japanese also and Thai also and all of it, even if it is, not fluent as in fluent, but then you can manage, even in India, we have so many languages and all of us have to learn the local language to some degree for, if nothing else, then at least domestic help and people who come home, you
yeah.
have to learn something. So when I came
So,
down south, I had to pick up a little bit of Kannada. Swalpa,
okay,
swalpa only.
okay.
Swalpa, swalpa
But
means little, little in Kannada.
but jokingly speaking, the globe is too small and life is too short.
Too short.
And for me to connect and align with everyone. Now, when I say align, that's the reason for our company's name, Aim for Success.
Mhm.
Just aim for success. A stands for alignment. There are no strangers for me in this world, Sapna, only friends I've not met before. And if you
How
approach
beautiful.
life with that phenomenon foundation, the globe becomes such a family for us. And that's what I try to do.
How beautifully put. How beautifully put. I think we can leave people with this thought and they will see a lot of value in these very impactful lines which you just told them. You don't see strangers, you just meet people you've not met before and just connect. And the alignment bit, one has to just align and orient themselves towards whatever they feel like, whichever direction they would want to move in or with whosoever. And yes, it's that 16th minute after the fear and the 17th minute which will change their lives.
Yep.
This was amazing. This was amazing bit, and I do not want it to be lost in more things. I will come back to you for more, but this is really impactful, and I'm going to leave my listeners to this little part of Aim for Success. Thank you, Ben, for being with me
Salute to you.
and actually giving us valuable information and orienting the minds of people as to how to go about stuff. And yes, practice is important. You just have to want to do it more than the trouble, कहते हैं ना कि कह दो खुदा से कि it's like your problem is not big, but your power over it is bigger. Something like this. So your determination is bigger and you can just go over any hurdle.
Okay.
So with that, I would like to thank you once again for being with us and gracing us with your wisdom, experience, and you yourself as such, the magnet. I would, I would just ask everyone to be on Clubhouse and connect with Bankim Pandya, Ben, and you just sit in that room and you can see the positive vibes, you can see the energy in the room. I just leave everything and I run to that room and I'm like, I'm going to have a good time listening to all the great things and the fun part as well. So that is so important. You add fun into your life and everybody else's life as well. All right. Thank you
Namaste.
so much. Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Yes, yes. Thank you.